This video contains a truth that has changed the lives of many people. If you are having health problems and have ever felt stuck, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the comment section so we can share useful knowledge together. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there in the first place? Maybe you've stared at a familiar face, trying to remember their name, and it just wouldn't come to you. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And let me tell you, forgetting little things like this doesn't mean something's wrong with you. But here's the truth. There are a few sneaky habits and lifestyle choices that quietly chip away at our memory as we age, and most people don't even realize they're doing them. Now, before we dive into all that, let me say this from the heart: your brain is still capable. I don't care if you're 60, 70, or even 90 years old. There's a good chance you can sharpen your memory, feel more alert, and even bring back that sense of clarity you thought was long gone. But it starts with knowing what to avoid, especially the big memory killers that are most common in seniors. Stick around, because I'm going to walk you through each one step by step in simple, practical ways you can take action today. And if you're dealing with any medical conditions or memory-related issues, I'd love for you to share them in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll do my best to offer helpful guidance or resources that can support you. We're all in this together. Alright, let's get right into it, starting with something many of us overlook: poor sleep. Sleep might seem like a luxury in today's fast-paced world, but for your brain, it's absolutely essential, especially as you get older. When you don't sleep well, your brain doesn't get a chance to clear out toxins that build up during the day. And I don't mean metaphorical toxins, I mean real biological waste that can mess with memory, mood, and focus. Think of your brain like a desk. Every day, papers pile up. Sleep is what clears the desk so you can work clearly the next morning. Now, here's the problem. As we age, our sleep patterns naturally change. You might find yourself waking up more often during the night, or struggling to fall asleep in the first place. That's totally normal, but it doesn't mean you're helpless. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people trying to fight sleep with more coffee during the day, or watching TV late into the night because they feel restless. But those habits only make things worse. Instead, try giving your body clear signals when it's time to rest. Create a bedtime routine, maybe a warm bath, turning off screens an hour before bed, even a few minutes of soft music or deep breathing. Your brain responds to patterns. And if you're struggling with sleep apnea, restless legs, or any sleep disorder, please talk to your doctor. Poor sleep is one of the biggest memory killers out there. And the good news is, once it improves, so does mental clarity. Now, let's move on to another silent culprit: chronic stress. We've all been told that stress isn't good for us, but let's talk about what it really does to your brain, especially if it's been hanging around for years. When your brain is constantly in fight or flight mode, whether it's from worrying about your health, family issues, or financial pressures, it floods your body with a hormone called cortisol. Over time, too much cortisol damages the part of your brain that stores memories, called the hippocampus. That's not just theory. That's decades of solid medical research. You might have noticed it yourself. When you're stressed, it's harder to concentrate. You forget where you put things. You lose track of your thoughts. And sadly, we tend to accept this as just part of getting older. But that's not true. This is your body's way of saying, hey, I need a break. Now, you don't have to become a monk or live on a beach in Hawaii to lower your stress. But small changes can make a huge difference. Start with just 5 minutes a day. Sit somewhere quiet. Focus on your breath. Let your shoulders drop. Or try a gentle walk outside without your phone. Without any agenda, just let yourself be. For some people, prayer helps. For others, it's journaling. Whatever brings your mind a little peace, make space for it. That's not just self-care, it's memory care. And if you're dealing with deeper emotional pain, grief, loneliness, or fear about the future, I want you to know that it's okay to ask for help. There's nothing weak about seeking support. In fact, it's one of the strongest things you can do for your health and your memory. Now, we've covered poor sleep and chronic stress to major players, but I'd be missing something huge if I didn't talk about this next one: lack of movement. I know, you've probably heard 100 times that exercise is good for you, But here's something most people don't know: it's critical for your memory. When you move your body, even a little bit, you're not just working your muscles. You're stimulating blood flow to your brain. You're encouraging the growth of new brain cells. That's right, your brain can actually grow and adapt, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Now, this doesn't mean you need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. But what if you simply walked around your home more often? Or tried some seated stretches while watching your favorite show? Even dancing a little while you cook can make a difference. The key is consistency. Think of movement as brain fuel. If your body stays still too long, your brain goes into idle mode. But even 10 minutes of light movement a few times a day can bring back that spark. And listen, I know pain, arthritis, or balance issues can make movement harder. So go gentle. Talk with a physical therapist or ask your doctor what's safe for you. But don't give up on moving. Your memory depends on it more than you think. There's something powerful about recognizing that some of the most damaging habits to our brain are also the ones we can do something about. That alone should give you hope. Now, take a deep breath with me. That's a lot to take in, I know, but it's also a beginning. Because when you understand what's hurting your memory, you can start clearing the path to something better. Let's keep going. Now, let's pick up where we left off. You know, sometimes the biggest threats to our memory don't come from what we forget but from what we keep doing without realizing the harm it's causing. And one of the sneakiest culprits: poor sleep. I'm not just talking about the occasional restless night. I mean those nights where you're tossing and turning, waking up at 2 or 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, and feeling like your brain just won't quiet down. Or maybe you do sleep, but it's not deep or refreshing. You wake up feeling like you barely rested at all. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Our brains need sleep like our lungs need air. It's during deep sleep that the brain goes into a kind of cleanup mode. Think of it like a little housekeeping crew that comes in at night, sweeping away toxins, organizing memories, and refreshing your mental clarity. But when sleep is shallow, broken, or too short, that crew doesn't get to do its job. The mess builds up, and slowly your memory starts to slip. Studies have shown that even one night of poor sleep can impact your ability to concentrate and recall simple things like where you put your keys or what you had for dinner last night. And if that goes on night after night, it starts chipping away at your cognitive health. So what can you do? First, try to stay consistent. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Your brain loves routine, it thrives on it. And your internal clock, called your circadian rhythm, works best when you stick to a steady schedule. Also, be mindful of what you're doing right before bed. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to patients who say they scroll through their phones or watch TV until they feel sleepy. But that blue light from screens, it's like giving your brain a shot of espresso. It tricks your body into thinking it's still daytime. If possible, shut off screens an hour before bed. Instead, try reading, listening to soft music, or practicing a little deep breathing. And one more thing, watch out for caffeine and alcohol in the evening. Even if you don't feel wired, caffeine can linger in your system for hours and disrupt your deep sleep. Alcohol might help you fall asleep faster, but it tends to wake you up in the middle of the night, making your rest more fragmented. If you're struggling with chronic insomnia, don't hesitate to talk to your doctor. There are gentle, non-habit-forming solutions available, and you don't have to live with poor sleep forever. All right, let's move on to the next memory killer, something many people overlook: lack of mental stimulation. Think of your brain like a muscle. If you stop using it, it gets weaker. That's not just a cute saying, it's backed by decades of research. When we stop challenging our minds, our cognitive abilities start to shrink. It's like trying to run a marathon after sitting on the couch for a year. Your brain needs to be exercised, just like your body. But don't worry, you don't need to do algebra or memorize Shakespeare. Mental stimulation can be fun, engaging, and even social. In fact, one of the best ways to keep your brain sharp is by learning something new. And I mean anything, whether it's picking up a few phrases in a new language, learning to knit, doing a jigsaw puzzle, or even joining a local book club. The act of learning stretches your brain. It forms new neural pathways, which strengthens your memory and protects against decline. You might think, well, I'm too old to start learning something new. But let me tell you, I've seen patients in their 80s take up painting, learn how to use an iPad, or start journaling every morning. Not only did their minds become sharper, but they often felt more alive, more connected to the world around them. Another tip: mix things up. If you always read mystery novels, try historical fiction. If you always cook the same meals, try a new recipe once a week. These small changes create new experiences for your brain to process, which keeps those neurons firing. You can also get creative with brain games. There are plenty of apps designed to boost memory and attention. But even classic games like crossword puzzles, Sudoku, or cards can work wonders. Just try to do something every day that makes your brain stretch a little. It doesn't have to be hard, just new. And don't underestimate the power of social engagement. Having conversations, telling stories, listening, laughing, these are all cognitive exercises. They keep the memory centers of your brain active. That's why isolation can be so damaging. When we stop interacting regularly, our minds don't get that daily workout. So call a friend, join a local group. Even talking to a neighbor during your morning walk can help keep your brain healthy. Now, while we're on the topic of brain health, we have to talk about something a little uncomfortable: certain medications. Yes, medications. Some of the very pills meant to help us feel better can actually cloud our memory over time. I've seen this time and time again. Someone starts having trouble with their memory, and after a bit of digging, we realize it's connected to a drug they've been taking for years. Medications like anticholinergics, often found in allergy pills, sleep aids, and even some over-the-counter cold remedies, are known to interfere with brain function. In older adults, they can make you feel foggy, confused, and forgetful. And the tricky part? You might not notice it right away. The effects can creep in slowly, over months or even years. Benzodiazepines, which are often prescribed for anxiety or insomnia like diazepam or lorazepam, can also impair memory, especially when used long-term. These medications can dull your brain's sharpness, and in some cases, they increase the risk of developing dementia. That doesn't mean you should suddenly stop taking your medications. Absolutely not. But it does mean you should regularly review your prescriptions with your doctor, especially as you get older. Ask whether each medication is still necessary. Ask if there are safer alternatives or whether the dosage needs adjusting. You'd be amazed at how much clearer your mind can feel after a simple medication review. And always keep a list of everything you take: prescriptions, over-the-counter meds, and supplements. Bring it with you to your checkups. It's one of the easiest, most effective steps you can take to protect your brain. So far, we've uncovered some powerful memory killers: chronic poor sleep, lack of mental stimulation, and the effects of certain medications. Each one might seem small on its own, but over time, they add up. And when they go unchecked, they can take a real toll on your ability to stay sharp and focused. Now, let's talk about the final memory killer, and this one might surprise you. Chronic stress. Yep, stress isn't just something that weighs on your emotions or your shoulders. It directly affects your brain, too, especially your memory. You see, when you're under constant stress, worrying about your health, your finances, your family, or even the future, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. Now, cortisol isn't all bad. In small doses, it helps your body respond to danger. But when cortisol stays elevated for long periods, it starts damaging parts of the brain involved in memory, particularly the hippocampus, which is your brain's memory center. In fact, brain scans of people under chronic stress often show shrinkage in that very area. What does that mean in real life? It means forgetting names, missing appointments, misplacing things, and feeling mentally exhausted all the time. It can make you feel like you're slipping, even if you're trying your best. And what makes this so tricky is that many seniors carry a heavy emotional load quietly. They may not tell anyone how overwhelmed or anxious they feel. They don't want to burden others. But inside, their minds are racing, and the stress keeps building. So what can you do? Start with small steps to calm your nervous system. One of the most effective ways is deep breathing. Seriously, just 5 slow breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, can help lower your stress response almost instantly. Another powerful tool: movement. Gentle walks, stretching, tai chi, or even light dancing in the kitchen can work wonders. Moving your body helps clear stress hormones from your system and releases feel-good chemicals in your brain. Also, find moments of joy. Maybe it's tending a garden, listening to your favorite music, watching birds from your window, or laughing with a friend. Joy isn't a luxury, it's medicine. Every positive moment helps balance out the stress and protect your memory. And don't underestimate the power of talking. Whether it's to a trusted friend, a therapist, or someone in your faith community, sharing your worries lifts the weight. You're not meant to carry it all alone. If you're dealing with deep or persistent stress, it's absolutely okay to ask for help. Your brain and your heart will thank you. So let's recap the 4 common memory killers we've covered. Poor sleep. Without deep rest, your brain can't clean up and restore itself. Lack of mental stimulation. A bored brain is a shrinking brain. Learning keeps your mind alive. Medications that cloud your thinking. Some pills, even common ones, can slowly erode your sharpness. Chronic stress. Long-term anxiety wears down the very parts of your brain you rely on to remember, think, and focus. But here's the beautiful truth. You can do something about each one. This isn't about being perfect. It's about making small, intentional changes. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just pick one step, maybe improving your sleep, or calling your doctor about your meds, or taking a walk to ease your mind, and start there. Because your brain is not a lost cause. Even in later years, your brain is incredibly adaptable. It can grow, change, and rebuild. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. It's real, and it's powerful. So don't believe the myth that memory loss is just a normal part of aging. It's not. It's often a symptom of things we can change. And when you begin to clear away these memory killers, when you create space for rest, learning, connection, and peace, your brain starts to shine again. You remember more. You think clearer. You feel more like yourself. And that is a beautiful thing. So take that next step. You've got this. If this video helped you or someone you love, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let us know in the comments which memory killer surprised you the most. For more tips on healthy aging, brain wellness, and living fully, stay tuned. We're here with you every step of the way.